basically do a feature on you as an icon, but more importantly, just as an icon. Because, you've always been Nina. You've always been Nina against the grain of everything else, and that's what they want me to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about what you're doing now and the future, but they do want me to talk to you about the past and stuff. Is that okay with you?
Oh, I'd love to.
Great. I guess let's start up how you got to the point of the first album with the Nina Hagen band and everything. What major events in your life kind of
Were happening before that? Prior? Well, I was 21 years old when I came out of East Germany, then finally. But while I was in East Germany, I had great possibilities to see many weird things, make up my own mind, and learn to sing, get inspired by the rock music which I heard on the radio, and we taped those songs because we couldn't buy the albums. And so every singer, every rock band was my singing teacher, so to speak. I wrote down the lyrics in just as you hear it, because I did phonetics, and then I sang along. And so I started training my voice and my hair. I tried to look like Brian Jones from the Stones. Somehow I ended up to always cut it too short, and then because his fringe, everything was totally like you couldn't barely see anything, and I never got it to that point, but because I always kind of cut it too short, and I was running around with a scarf like a Muslim woman, and I liked it. I thought I looked beautiful like that, but everybody else said, "Oh, Nina, take that scarf off." And I said, "Why? It makes me so beautiful and female." And oh well, whatever. And I also dressed as an old woman just to test my environment. The people around went on the street. Nobody was looking at me, so I had a good coverage, and I made strange things. And anyways, then I started to sing in bands and in background chorus, the radio corps. I went to this every Monday. In East Berlin was this place where all the musicians hang out, all the jazz musicians, all the rocker people, and all the singers. And I was a nobody then, but I had a great voice because I found it. I found that voice, and I trained it. So I made myself known to them, but I had very famous parents and also step-parents, so it was a quick way for me to get to know the ones who already made it in East Germany, so I could became member of one of those wonderful background chorus, and went to a school for singers to get a professional singer's passport. But I always wanted to sneak out to the West. I wanted to run away, And once I tried when I was 16, I went to Poland for 4 months, trying my uncle in the West to get some help and a false passport. But it didn't work out. But in Poland, I had a wonderful experience for the first time in my life that no matter where I am, there's always musicians everywhere. And the moment I sang a song with them, they wanted me as a singer in their band. And so we were doing it there too. It's just fabulous. And then the day I came out into the West was quite emotional and fabulous. And my stepfather, who they already kicked out before me, because he was a very political singer-songwriter. He was very famous in West Germany because they smuggled his recordings over the border, and he was on CBS Records, so they didn't dare to put him in jail. They knew I'm a potential fabulous entertainer, singer, but I need to look around because I've never seen a rock band play live except in East Germany, bands covering the stuff from you guys in the West. So I went to London in '77 and played here in a movie. My girlfriend, she studied film at the London Film School, and I played the lead in her movie Go Blue Girl, it's called. And these days we made friends with the Slits, with Ariane from the Slits, and went to see all the bands. And I got very, very inspired. Before that, I was a fan of Brian Ferry and Roxy music, and Lou Reed and Iggy Pop and David Bowie and Patti Smith and Tina Turner and James Brown and the funk section and the Beatles and the Stones and Janis Joplin, of course. And I just that those young people, take over, create their own style, not be afraid of the so-called music industry, not business. That was a very, very great experience here in London. Then I went back to East Germany, to West Germany, and found myself a really good band. And then we put our first album out with mostly songs which I've already written when I was still living in East Germany. So those songs were so profound because they were pregnant for a very long time, those songs. So the first album, everybody calls it the best one. It's a German language album. So everybody says that.
Did the people say that about the first album?
The very first one, they say, oh, that is just so phenomenal. But I also...
We disagree. We disagree.
Okay. I also like Non-Sex Smoke.
That's you.
And all the others.
That album completely changed my life. But we'll get, and Fearless as well, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah. Fabulous. Oh, we're working on an album right now also. So it's a very amazing process working on an album. It's just like biting yourself through hard oil, and it's hard work. It's nearly as hard as giving birth itself.
Ooh, that is hard work.
Oh yeah.
I imagine.
Oh yeah.
I imagine.
Oh yeah. It's jumping over your own shadow, and there is a time frame during the process of labor and giving birth where the mother is actually giving her own life for the child. This is a very spiritual moment. It is amazing. Hallelujah. Amen.
There are a couple of myths, or maybe they're not myths. Maybe they're true. I want to talk to you about, which is the first one of which is that. Well, the story is that you were kicked out of East Germany for masturbating on live TV.
No, that I did not masturbate on a live TV show. I told them about how a female orgasm might function during lovemaking and stuff. Hi. 1979 already, in an Austrian television talk show where they were talking about youth culture and youth behavior, and there was this older, very kind of corpulent male person, male human being, and he was kind of speaking very bad about the woman with their orgasm problems, and they say there is no orgasm problems. Maybe your woman is, maybe did not tell you, or there is no such a thing, and it functions like this and this and this and that. And it was a kind of a very quick, sexual education kind of thing. Not nasty, not ordinaire, very to the point, very clear. And that happened in '79.
Right, and did you get in trouble for that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the people, in Austria is very heavy. Just look at the government they have right now. Very, I don't know what name to call it. Right-wing kind of conservative. That is a good word to use in this frame. And they were writing. There should be, again, concentration camps for people like me, and it's really harsh.
They said that?
Yeah, they call it. And they also kicked the talk show host out of his job. And then later they asked me, well, don't you feel bad that you kind of, it was your fault that the guy lost his job? I said, listen, then the Austrian television doesn't have to make talk shows, live talk shows on television. If the guest is not allowed to speak his or her mind, I'm living in the free world now. I did not escape out of East Germany for shutting up and not saying anything anymore. In the opposite, I came here to speak out and to sing loud. And it has nothing to do with me that you guys kick him out from his job.
Absolutely. Something else I think it's from the Nun-Sex Monk Rock period, I think, which is that, if I'm not mistaken, and if I am, I'm sorry, but I've been told that you claim that Cosma Shiva was the direct reincarnation of Jesus Christ.
No, I said she is a direct incarnation of the divine, and so is every human being. And when a mother can realize that, then she realizes that her baby is holy and sacred, that she must protect it from of the human world out there, which might be so full with shit. And every human being is already holy and sacred. Everybody has the potential to be a messiah, a pacifier, an electrifier.
So, am I right in thinking that the first two albums were recorded in Germany, and then you came
in Berlin, and the second one also in Berlin, and then third one in New York.
And did you split up from the band before you went to New York?
Yeah, I went. We had a big split up. They were very nasty to me. They were always complaining that I am the one that the press is interested in. Well, I mean, hello. I'm the singer, the songwriter of most of the songs. And
it's called the Nina Hagen Band.
Yeah, the Nina Hagen Band. And they were upset about that. And then also I wanted to have more money because we went on tour and everybody got the same money. And I said, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to sing like this. My job is I'm constantly screaming, singing, doing, entertaining, and you guys play every evening the same songs. I need more money than you, so we have to make. I didn't escape from communism just to get into another very strange communist system that we all get the same. For my work is different. I'm always hoarse. My voice is hoarse. I have to, I just wanted to have more money, and they didn't want to give me more. So how can you work with people when the atmosphere is not nice anymore? So we split up.
So the reason you were labeled the mother of punk is because you were slightly older than everybody
in London.
In London at the time. Is that true?
I was like 22, 23, and everybody was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and so I was at many rehearsals from the Slits. I helped Ariana to sing and not to fuck up her voice. I was like her singing coach sometimes, and I also could play pretty well guitar, so I could show them some more things on the guitar. And even when I was a little girl, I felt like a mother to other children. For example, when I visited orphan homes.
I was going to say, it's funny because you are so motherly. You talk about Return of the Mother. You talk about being and how religion is like to be a good mother and everything. It's funny that all those years back you were labeled that, and then. Yeah,
it's one of the aspects a woman has, but also a man. A male human being has also mother qualities and father qualities. And when I look at my best friend in this world, he's from India. He's my teacher. He also can be loving as a mother, and he can be very wise and also strict like a father, and like a best friend, and like everything. All like somebody you admire. So every human being has all those aspects. And like children, of course.
Is it important to you to be like a childlike sometimes?
I think
To keep the child in you.
the child is there. It is there. It's jumping on the bed constantly. It's the happy camper who will never get, probably, yeah, hopefully. Point. Whatever. Oh my God.
But then you had, if I'm right, well, no, that's Cosmo Shiva on the cover of Non-Sex Monk Rock,
Yeah.
isn't it? So you had her just before the album.
Yeah.
And how at that period, the whole going to America and having Cosmo Shiva, how was that for you? That must have been amazing.
Yes, because we first came to America in 1980. We put a band together and wrote many new songs, and then we went on a tour again. And on that tour, I got pregnant, started vomit a lot, so it was very exhausting. And then when the tour was finished, we rented a holiday house on Malibu Beach in California, and it was fabulous. Fabulous time to relax and be pregnant, and it was just a fabulous time. I even saw a most wonderful UFO, a good one, not the abduction kind of horrible one, a very good one with colors never seen and felt before. Every color had a feeling to it, and yeah. And we worked on the songs during the pregnancy. We did lots of video camera filming also, with making funny sketches, funny situations and stuff. Very creative time that was. And then when Cosmo was born, we went to the Bahamas for the first 3 months just to take it easy, file on the songs. I shaved all my hair off. I was like a monk mother. Non-sex monk because I was only mother. There was no, the father from Cosmo was an addict, drug addict.
Right.
Yeah, he was a heroin addict, and in the beginning when I met him and we put the band together, he was the guitar player. He went to this wonderful English clinic of Meg Patterson, where Eric Burden went and other people, and he was clean for many months, but then he went back. So he was out of the picture.
Is Smack Jack about him?
Smack Jack is a song from him.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, even like I Am Nina Junkie, it's something you keep seemingly coming back to about.
Yeah, but
John
I'm a
Paul.
rock and roll junkie.
Right.
I'm not a heroin junkie.
No,
That's different.
I wasn't saying that
That's
you
different
at any point were a junkie.
Yeah.
Just that you do sing about, not doing drugs. Even on Street, there was I can't remember the song exactly, but it was all about not doing drugs and all that. It is something you've always talked about.
Yeah.
Have you seen a lot of people around you kind of fucked up on drugs?
Yeah. And in the time when Cosmo was a baby and we were still in the Bahamas and preparing for Non-Sex Monk Rock, it was also a very creative time. And that Non-Sex Monk Rock album is probably also, that's why, for that reason, so strong, because we had so much really good time to prepare for it and to feel free to really do it. And then when we were in New York, Green Street Studio, we had Chris Spedding, one of my favorite guitar players, and other people who helped a lot. And also the producer, Mike Thorne, was wonderful because he helped me to realize my ideas and didn't want to make it too slick. And then, of course, CBS Records was, oh my God, this is not commercial at all.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
So what? We're young people. We don't have to be commercial. What is commercial? Commercial is something which sells good. They should have just made a bigger promotion for it,
Yeah.
and then we would have maybe sold a couple more. Whatever. Never mind.
But if I can say, looking at the first two albums, and we were talking about this the other day, weren't we? First two albums to Non-Sex Monk Rock, it's like you just exploded creativity. Well, this is just a fan saying this, but it's just a complete kind of explosion of creativity
Yeah.
from what you were doing with your voice, even on the first to the third album. Did it feel like that? Did it feel like you'd really?
Yeah, I felt so more than free because I was a mother of a messiah. Now, you know, a female messiah. And my daughter is an absolute messiah. Plus, she is a very wonderful actress also.
Yes. How did that period seg into Fearless?
Well,
Because it was a kind of a radical change of sound, in a way, wasn't it?
yeah, well, you know, every song gets what it deserves. And it was another time frame, and we were just having the same fun writing and creating and producing the songs than ever before. But I guess it was another producer, another approach of the producers, but we had much fun recording it in Giorgio Moroder's studio in his posh mansion in Hollywood. With Keith Forsey, who did the main production. Giorgio Moroder was just overlooking it.
Oh, really? So,
Yeah, Giorgio Moroder had his people, and you know, and then he just put his name on it. You know, it's like, it's probably also like many other producers, I guess. They have their creative people who are doing it for him, and because he's so rich, he's the employee, and then he has all those people doing the grand work, and he puts his name. It happens a lot.
and would it be right to say that that was kind of a very, as CBS would have put it, commercial album?
I don't know. Maybe I was always a little bit too uneasy or too wild, or I don't know what. I was never mainstream commercial. But we did enter some kind of charts with a couple of songs, with New York, and Zara.
Zara, yeah.
And we did have some airplay, and I was young, but I'm still young. When you're 50 years old, you know, it's a total mistake of society to think that when a woman or a man or an actor or an artist or whatever is 50, you know, there is also 19-year-old people, and they gave up on creativity, and they gave up on freedom, and they kind of, you know, look old.
Absolutely.
Let's see. But I would never do the work just to have a commercial success. If a commercial success happens, then yeah, great. But if not, then at least it's art from the heart of the artist, and I could not produce any fabricated art which, like a painter, and they say, oh, please don't paint like this, paint like this. It's not possible, you know.
You mentioned, you kind of touched on that maybe a lot of society thinks of you as being wild and so forth.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've kind of celebrated, so to speak, being a freak on various songs. Is that something, I mean, you know, you've stood up and you've done exactly, or to us it looks like you've just been who you are in the face of, well, from the beginning on the TV show, in the face of people trying to stop you. I mean, how does that feel now at this point in your life, looking back at that? And
Great. It's very interesting. It will be also still interesting for generations to come to see what I've done. It's totally creative and wonderful. It has probably nothing to do with pop music, because pop is popular only for a time frame. But most of my work will stand out for eternity, because it's real art. Yeah, not all of it, but most of it.
Are there any favorites, or do the favorites change?
Yes, they change, because when we do live concerts these days, we do all sorts of songs, old songs, new songs, middle-aged songs, updates, old songs but updated.
I can't remember if Punk Wedding came before or after Ecstasy. Was it?
I think it came after. Yeah, after.
Okay, so let's do Ecstasy first.
Okay.
The period around that album, how was that?
Well, it was a producer called Adam Kidron, and he kind of once had a car accident, and he said that he doesn't feel anything in his arm anymore, and he was pulling the knobs on the mixing desk. So that was like a big thing for me, that my producer couldn't feel anything in his arm. I can never imagine, and I didn't want to believe this. I said, just don't believe it anymore. Just come on. More I can't remember from that production. No, I'm just kidding. His name was Kidron. We did it in Ibiza in a studio, maybe also in another studio for a while. My guitar player, Bill Liesegan, was with it. I think Karl Racker was still there too. And it was, the album.
The Universal Radio was a hit, wasn't it?
Well, not really. I never really had a hit. Maybe it was a little hit. But in Universal Radio, I it's not my lyrics. It's a co-writing. I co-wrote it with Dumas, a poet from America, a Jewish American poet, and I don't really think the song is musically very interesting. It could have been done much more different. I remember that I wanted to sing differently on it, and they said to me I should sing like a sexy woman, and then I tried, and somehow...
You always sing like a sexy woman.
Yeah,
what are they talking about?
Thank you, young man. But no, but they said I should use like a mishy-vishy voice, not the voice I would use when I sing live, and that is a mistake. To do a song in a studio in a different way than you would do it live, that is a mistake. That is not authentic, and it wasn't a hit anyway. So I was right again.
And My Way, was that a direct kind of
that was
dedication to
inspired
Sid?
by Sid Vicious and Frank Sinatra, and I did the German, my own point of the world view. How fucked up the world is and how everybody just thinks about himself, but one day the big thunder and lightning will happen and then everybody will... So you better think about that now before it's too late, and find your love and be happy. It was a fabulous time. Also in London in '86 when I went out all by myself to the clubs just to go dancing, and I always met Lee Bowery in his early artist days, and we were dancing together all night, and we were the best friends, and he was also there alone, I was there alone. So things like that, very nice, also in New York. And then last year I realized that in New York the mayor, Giuliani, that they kind of closed down all the after clubs, and it was not allowed to go after hour clubbing anymore. New York became more, settled, and that all the music lovers and the gay community didn't like it. Now they're making a movie about the whole squeeze box experience, and many people speak out in the movie, try to, to loosen up this strange law they have in New York that there should be no after parties. This is really horrible, unusual. It's very strange. It's like
And-
fascist. It's so good to dance all night, all day and all night. Yeah, because Shiva is dance. Shiva's rhythm, and we should dance the dance of life. And if there is no after clubs, after hours clubs, then what are we gonna do? Just jump on our beds, all alone.
So we've done ecstasy. Ecstasy.
I didn't know about the drug back then at all. I have
No,
not
I know.
heard of it,
Yeah.
and it was just it's
You were talking
natural.
about being in ecstasy.
natural
That came
ecstasy.
through. Don't worry.
Yeah,
That always
because
comes
people
through.
asked me back then because somehow that drug came.
You did Rock in Rio for that album, didn't you?
In ecstasy. That was in '85. Yeah, that's when we were invited to go to Hagen Rio. Yeah.
And is it true you played in front of 1 million people? Or?
Well, it was 1 million because it went on for days and days and days and days. But on one evening, it's like
In a stadium was 250, 260.
Right. Okay.
yeah.
And didn't you headline the festival or something?
Yeah, on some days we played twice. It was going on for a week or 10 days or something, and we played twice.
And what was that like? Was that the biggest concert you've ever done?
Yeah, sure. That many people, huge. Yeah.
Were you like in disbelief, or was it like, did you feel you'd come to a certain point that was like a certain plateau in your career to be able to play to that many people?
Well, to make sure that everybody can feel me, because then you just see a little figure on the stage and from far away. So it's the same than when I play in a little club or in this big arena. I just started screaming in the beginning, "I love you," and I meant that. Like everybody, and even the people in the last row, so I screamed it again and again and again until they all
There
were
was a delay
screaming.
around
Yeah.
2 seconds there. It's really funny. Yeah?
So I woke them up and said, "I love you," so, and then we had the best time.
It's a punk wedding,
Nice.
which
Yeah.
I have never heard, and I'm bitter about it.
Oh, don't be bitter about it. It's just, it was just a maxi
EP,
kind of
yeah.
thing with many versions of the same song. And so basically, this punk wedding was meant to be a big punk party where but when you organize an open air concert, you need some money. So we said, how can we organize a big punk festival of a spiritual marriage between the united punks of the world, because we were very much in favor of the true punk feeling and movement, and even now these days in New York, then also 1 or 2 years ago, punks and other wonderful people in New York, they squatted houses, and then the mayor came with arms and wie sagt man Panzer in English, ammunition, and those big tanks. They came with tanks and bombs to the squatted houses, and they wanted them out, but they didn't go out. They stayed in the communards, and then they made lots of benefits concerts, and they bought the houses.
There you
And
go.
I liked that about England in the 70s, that people were able to make a co-op out of a squad. It was great.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Am I right? The next album was Nina Hagen, wasn't it?
Yeah, then we went with Phonogram.